What's up, YouTube? Welcome into the channel. My name is Jordan Aubrey. We're going to be discussing Tradeline today, and I know it's been a topic of discussion. I looked at some of my videos and what's actually working, and it seemed like you guys love this Tradeline stuff. So I want to jump right into it and answer a couple of these questions that I got from other users. And before we jump into anything, I just want to explain, anybody that's new here, got some marketing going on, real estate investor problems, right? But anybody that's new here got a partner that's going to answer that, so don't worry about it. But anybody that's new here, I do want to explain exactly what we do, who I am. So my name is Jordan Aubrey, real estate investor, full-time, do a lot of wholesaling, fixing and flip, new construction. We're actually getting started on those new construction projects, which I'll be making a video on that. I'm gonna try to come out and be more consistent with just what I'm putting out, obviously informing you guys on how you can go and make money, but ultimately be able to see my transition, my journey, and I got a ton of knowledge, so I want to share it with you. So that's what this is all about. If you're interested in putting money in your pocket, real estate investing, really anything credit, that's what we're going to share on the channel. So if that's something you might like, definitely make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you cut on the notification bells. That way, when I drop any other gems in the future, you'll be able to watch it. So let's jump right into it. So trade lines, I know it's a big one. What are trade lines? Trade lines is essentially authorized users. We call them trade lines, but they're actually authorized users. Essentially what that is you have a credit card account, and all we're doing is saying this particular person, me being Jordan, the head honcho, right? And then I'm gonna add Jackson, which is my son. I'm gonna add him to my credit. Essentially what's gonna happen, I'm gonna add him to that credit card, and he's gonna inherit all of the history that I've created up until that particular point with that credit card, right? So if it's 10 years, $5,000 limit, all of a sudden Jackson is going to have 10 years of history and $5,000 limit on his particular credit. That's why it's so huge to get them, and that's why so many people interested in it, because it's definitely a way that you can make money by selling them, but essentially it's perfect for somebody that's just getting started out, maybe a high schooler or somebody that's looking to get a phone, a car, or just have established credit so they can get their own apartment. This is a way they can piggyback off your credit and not actually hurt you, and you don't have to co-sign the car, co-sign the lease. And essentially co-sign is the worst thing you can possibly ever do for a person. You never want to do that. What you want to do is give them a hand up as opposed to a hand out, right? And that's essentially what we're doing with this credit, is we're giving them a hand up, where we're saying, okay, this is how good it is. You can inherit this history. At that point, it's up to you. What you do with your credit is on you. If you go out here and miss a payment, that's on you. If you go out here and get collections, that's on you. But essentially, you're not affected in not trying to go in and co-sign for that particular seller. Co-sign for that particular borrower and have your name tied to it, because essentially you will have to pay that debt back. Every co-sign that I've ever done was a bad idea, and I'm just letting you guys know, do not do it, right? So with that being said, that's what a trade line is. We're just going to put you on accounts that we already have, that we're familiar with, and essentially you're going to inherit all that history. Now, one thing that you want to look out for when you look for trade lines is you want to make sure that you do it with somebody that's responsible. So hey, if I'm actually giving out a trade line, I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna give them a trade line with great history, on time payments, a decent credit limit depending on who they are. Obviously, the more expensive the credit limit is, the more expensive the trade line is. So if you're selling it, it may not be a good thing to do to put your family on the most expensive one. But if you got one that's just as old, just not as expensive, you might want to get them out on that particular trade line. It'll help their credit out a whole heck of a lot more. So with that being said, that's what I talk about as far as what is a trade line. Now, we did have a question that comes through, and let me just, I know I'm not going to answer all of it. I'm going to answer a majority of the question though. Let me pull it up in my phone. Give me a second. I picked the perfect time to do this, huh? Right during the time where I got marketing going on. So let me see. Okay, Drew asked me, hey, what's the best way to help prevent the banks from flagging or shutting down your credit cards when you add a bunch of people as authorized users? So what's the best way? For me, it's all about setting expectation with that particular bank customer that you are. I mean, that clientele that you have. It's setting the expectation, man. Set the expectation, please. Set the expectation. Say it with me. The reason why I say that is because a lot of times people don't prep these banks for people that's coming through here. So a lot of times what we'll tell them is not necessarily, I would say, the truth, but we do prep them with somewhat of the truth. And when I say that, I'm saying we're going to let the bank know that, hey, you know what? We work with a boys home. We work with youth, and we help people establish some sort of credit without putting them or co-signing for them, because a lot of these people don't have moms, dads, whatever the case may be. We just want to prep them and have an influx of, they know that somebody's coming to them right now, right? They know that we're going to be bringing a bunch of clientele along that line. So with that being said, that's how we prep them. We tell them, hey, look, we work with a boys home. We're going to be going in there, and we're going to be running a lot of these guys in and out, a boys home or group home, right? A lot of people in and out of prison coming out, want to establish some credit. So just either one of those, but essentially what we're doing is you want to make sure they take note of that so they're aware of what's going on. Now, I've done it with multiple lenders. Majority of lenders, whoever you put on the trade line, what you need from them, you need just their social security card, and you need a driver's license from them. Remember, social security card and a driver's license. Why is this important? Because whenever they come and audit your account, say for instance, you got 10 to 15 people on your trade line. Whenever they come to audit your account, if you don't have that information, they'll automatically shut it down. The reason why is because they understand that, hey, you're selling trade lines. You're selling trade lines, and banks hate trade lines because essentially they're giving money to people that's not even qualified to buy their particular stuff. They're just piggybacking on somebody else's credit. So it's very big that we make sure we're not selling trade lines. Or we make sure, I'm not gonna say we're not selling trade lines, but it's very big that we make sure we have everything we need, and we make sure we're not breaking any laws. We make sure whatever they need to do, because that's our client. I mean, that gives us our credit line of credit. That is an important part of our process. We need that line of credit to be able to sell access to it or the history of it, right? So that's one thing we look at. You want to make sure you prep the bank. Number two, you want to make sure you get the driver's license and ID, or driver's license and social security. That way, if they ever come audited, you have a record of who these people were, what they were to you, and exactly why you allowed them to do what they do. Number three, I think this is probably the most important. People driver's license and people addresses are not the same, right? So what you want to do is you kind of want to make things simple and get a PO box and put your cards attached to that PO box. Say for instance, I'm in Dallas, right? I'm in Dallas, well, Addison, and if I put my address on the card, essentially my address is going to pop up on their credit history. You don't really want that. So what you want to do is you want to go get your credit card and put it on a PO box. That way, that PO box will be associated with that particular clientele's credit or credit history or whatever the case may be, and they get that PO box. Another good reason we do this is because PO boxes is kind of hard to say whether this person lived with you or didn't live with you, right? Or whether you guys are in the house or not in the house, right? When you get people from all over the place, say you got somebody from New York, Florida, I live in Texas, got somebody out Midwest in Michigan or wherever you are, right? If you got people all over the United States and they're on your card, it's very, very hard to say this person is not with me when my card is attached to a PO box. But when my card is attached to my address saying Addison, Texas, and it's 123 Main Street or whatever the case may be, now it kind of sets off sets off a little bit of flags, because now you got multiple people from all over the place that's showing up on this one account in Addison, Texas. And we all know that's not correct. But PO box, people have PO boxes all the time. No harm, no foul. You can have a PO box and live somewhere else. That's perfectly fine. So that's one thing that I would definitely say. Get you a PO box, and then therefore people won't know exactly who you are. They won't have your address. And say for instance you got something that's attached to that account, or somebody may be mad at you, want to come visit you at your address. Well, they got your address now. That's not the purpose of this deal. So definitely make sure you tag it with the PO box. I think those are the three things that you really need to know in order to do it. I've had a lot of questions. Those are the questions that was answered for me, and obviously we're going to be getting some more feedback for you guys. But I just wanted to come here today and let you know exactly what trade lines, how to avoid getting flagged for trade lines. And obviously we started with number one, setting expectation with the lender, the bank, whoever you got the credit card through. Number 2 is get the driver's license and social security card, and keep that file. I don't care if you dealt with them 10 years ago. When they come and audit you, they're going to audit you for everybody, not just one person. They're going to audit you for everybody that's ever been an authorized user on that account. And if you cannot keep up with that information, they will shut your account down. Right? So just go to Google Drive and just create a drive and just say, okay, this is where that information is going to be. Lock it up, store it, whatever the case may be. But keep that information. That way you never lose it and you never get your card shut down. If you're going to turn this into a business, you need to make sure you keep that information. Definitely. Number 3, last but not least, get on the P.O. box. That's going to be the most important. So obviously, if you guys got any other questions, definitely make sure you comment below. I want to talk about some things and definitely get some more questions asked. There's a lot of comments below. I love to hear back from you guys. So drop the comments, questions below. If you got any insight on this and there's something that I'm not addressing, man, let me hear from you. I want to hear it down there on below. So at least I get schooled a little bit too. Right? I learned something. So you guys learn, I learn. We all help each other. So let's do it. Hey, with that being said, you guys know the drill. Hey, keep winning.